order. If you'll please rise. Pledge allegiance. I
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And so we're looking to approve the minutes. Can we have a motion or any questions about them first?
I move that we approve the minutes.
I second.
All in favor for approval of the minutes? Say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? No? Okay. I'd like to open up for any item that is not on the agenda, a time for public participation or comments. Okay. Seeing none, we'll move to our first order of business, which is Storm Water Management Plan, LTPC 334, which is 1944 Millersville Road, a site plan briefing item.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Please state your name.
My name is Dave Keener. Representing the plan here. So this is property 944 Millersville Road. It's an existing property, 18 acres. And the applicant is making improvements to the property, and so that included adding some impervious area. The disturbance is less than an acre, so it'll be a won't require an NPDES permit. But we did talk to DEP regarding, there's a question about the floodplain, and so the floodplain is comes onto the property, but there's a waterway, and we provided calculations show that the stormwater stays within the waterway going through the property. So there's our improvements do not have any impact on that waterway. The improvements are being done on the existing houses on the east side of the waterway, and there's a barn on the west side of the property. And we're proposing to mitigate the stormwater by collecting the water from the existing impervious surfaces to a rain garden on the west side of the waterway. And as part of the plan, we've asked for two waivers. Asked for a waiver request regarding the showing 200 feet around the perimeter. It's an 18-acre property, and we're disturbing less than an acre, so we're requesting that we're showing the perimeter of the property, but not 200 feet around the perimeter. So that waiver, as well as we provided calculations showing that the 8-inch conveyance pipes are adequate. Stormwater ordinance requires a 15-inch minimum, so we've requested a waiver of those requirements. If there's any questions?
Turn it over to the commissioners for any questions that you may have.
It's really hard to tell the difference of what's existing and what you're proposing. What is it that you're proposing?
So around the existing house, there's a patio and some sidewalks and some proposed parking area. So those items are on the east side of the waterway, and on the west side of the waterway is the rain garden with the proposed contours there. So we're showing that we're mitigating the volume of stormwater from the increased impervious area on the east side of the waterway, and collecting that volume within the waterway or within the rain garden to mitigate the stormwater volume.
So on the east side of the stream, what additional impervious are you proposing?
The driveway parking area and the patio to the rear or to the east side of the house, and there's a concrete walkway around the north side.
On the north side of the stream?
On the north side of the kind of the northwest side of the house.
Where it says existing barn, existing paved parking area, and existing garage, are there any improvements there?
Just no additional impervious, just the rain garden.
So why are you putting the rain garden on the side of the stream where you're not putting any additional impervious?
So we did testing on the site, and that area was where we were able to achieve infiltration. And, it's all within the same watershed, so it all ends up in the waterway. And so we're achieving the volume reduction by taking the equivalent amount and putting it into that rain garden
Of the existing impervious?
from the existing impervious area.
Gotcha. I see a sanitary manhole and then it goes to the north. What is that for? It looks like it's in the middle of that stream.
Is that the Lasso sewer main?
Yeah, there's the
Separate
sewer.
from that. The last of the sewer main is here. There's another sanitary pipe there, it just ends.
I don't recall that being there. That may have been a layer that got left on. Yeah, the sewer easement is to the west of that. I'll confirm that.
Are there any other questions?
Yeah, so the stream, are you saying you did an H&H analysis that showed that rain garden is outside of the 100-year floodplain of that stream?
So the 100-year floodplain is documented here to the south.
Yeah.
That's the 100-year floodplain, but what we did with DEP was show them that this waterway contains the 100-year storm from the north. So there's all the development to the north comes down through that waterway. So what we demonstrated with them was that it doesn't flow outside of that waterway. It stays within the bed and banks.
Gotcha. So the 100-year storm wouldn't be affected, the rain garden wouldn't be affected by the 100-year storm?
Correct.
Okay.
Any additional questions?
No, I didn't see a review letter from you yet, Ben.
That's right.
Okay. Any thoughts from you, Ben?
Not at this time.
Thank you.
All right, thanks.
Okay, so we'll move to the subdivision land development plans. The first one is LTPC 341, Savers Modification Request Briefing Item.
Or you,
I would look, no.
okay, all right. That's right. So this particular case is kind of unique. It is a renovation of a commercial space at Manor Shopping Center. You might recall where Big Lots was, and a new tenant is looking to take over that space and to do some interior retrofits and a couple of very minor exterior changes. And one of them constitutes a building addition, which triggers a land development plan requirement. Now, the land development plan for Manor Shopping Center would be enormous in terms of the amount of information generated and all of the work that would have to be done to obtain approval. The proposed improvements are relatively minor. It is essentially an overhang on the south side of that part of the shopping center building to allow for donations of people who are going to be offering them to Savers Thrift Store. The applicant has prepared plans that show a change to the parking lot layout and the circulation. And rather than going through all of the cost of a full land development plan for the entirety of Manor Shopping Center, to simply put in a small overhang at the end of the building, we had suggested to the applicant that they make a modification request to not require them to submit a land development plan. So that's the purpose and what we're trying to help them get across the finish line on. We'll be submitting building permit drawings, but the information you have there in terms of the site and the sketch layout of the changes to the parking, we believe is sufficient to demonstrate that the things we normally would achieve in a land development plan are being taken care of for this particular use within Manor Shopping Center. Is anything else you want me to add?
Nope, if they have questions,
Okay,
I'm here to answer them.
all right.
So the entirety of the addition is this overhang.
Yes,
That's the only thing that's being added onto the structure.
yes.
No new impervious, just moving lines around the parking lot and putting the overhang on the building.
Right.
Okay.
Am I mistaken? I thought that the last building, the last part of that building was the Rent-A-Center Magic. Is that not correct? Because it looks like on this image that I'm seeing that would be where the Savers. Oh, they've moved. Okay, so then they're looking to move not in the Big Lot space, but into the into both? Okay, okay. Thank you
That's
for
my
clarifying.
understanding.
Okay.
That's correct.
I was like, I think there's something else attached. Okay. Are there any questions from the commissioners?
Thinking about the recorded plan for this shopping center now is almost, it'll be different than what's gonna be out there now. How do we reconcile that difference?
There have been multiple updates to the land development plan. So as there was a property that was subdivided off to allow McDonald's to build on its own property. There were a couple of other changes, so there have been other land development plans that have been submitted to somewhat update. But this addition doesn't change any easements. It doesn't move any utilities. It doesn't add any impervious area. So our thinking is that there really isn't a benefit to go through all of the cost, effort, and recording of a land development plan that doesn't change utilities or impervious areas. It's only changing a very small part of the building.
Okay. What's the minimum size of a parking space? You know, off the top of your head?
180 square feet.
So what's that? 20?
It's either 9 by 20 or 10 by 18.
So these spaces are 9 by 18. They look a little on the smaller side. What I know about the Manor Shopping Center is that it's a nightmare to navigate through that shopping center.
Well, there's that, but that's more a matter of
I know that's not
old
changing.
design. Which sheet are you seeing, 9 by 18?
C101.
Yeah, we're gonna need to get that adjusted. You're right, John. So we'll have to go with 10 by, probably 10 by 18s, because you've got the 7-foot dead space and 8-foot dead space at the end. So you'll probably need to eat up a few of those.
Okay.
So, but you guys can figure out how you want to address that. But that's a zoning issue, minimum 180 square feet.
Okay.
So it's a pretty common misread of our ordinance, because the ordinance says the minimum width is 9 and it says the minimum length is 18. And a lot of people combine that, but actually you also have to respect the minimum 180 square feet. So it's either 9 by 20 or 10 by 18. So I think you all can probably take care of that pretty easily.
Yeah, we can move that.
And this reduction in parking doesn't affect the minimum required at all?
No, they're way over in what their minimum, what their minimum inventory of parking spaces required.
Okay. And that loading dock is gonna take truck traffic? Does it take truck traffic back there already?
Yes,
Okay, so there's no issue with truck
circulation.
movement?
Oh. This isn't changing that.
Is anything gonna block the traffic between where you have the end of the parking and the trailer parking area? Or is that open to flow of traffic?
You on 101 again?
Yeah.
Is anything gonna block, what's that again?
So between the last parking space and where you have those trailers that are parked,
Yeah?
it doesn't look like they're allowing for traffic movement in that area.
It doesn't, you're right, it doesn't look like that's what they're anticipating to have happen. I think what they're looking to have the donation, it says donation drive-through only in the middle of the revised parking row. And the vehicles are gonna only go to the overhang. Would it be easier for the three of us to look at the plan together?
I trust your judgment, Ben.
Okay.
Are you recommending support of this waiver?
I am.
So would you like to move this into an action item, or is it still?
If the planning commission feels like they've seen enough, then that usually is the way we go.
Yeah.
I have no
You guys have-
objection.
I don't want to come back. That's,
Okay. So can we have a motion then to make this a briefing item, being approving, for the approval of it, and then also making sure that they obtain the minor land disturbance permit and building permit.
Is it one waiver or two waivers?
It really should just be one waiver, that they not be required to submit a land development plan. I mean, it's applying to two sections, both preliminary plans and final plans.
Okay. I move that we recommend approval of the waiver to omit some submission of a land development plan, conditioned upon obtaining approval for the minor land disturbance permit and the building permit.
Wait a second.
second.
All in favor, say aye.
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 Okay, none opposed. Thank you.
Good, thank you.
Thanks.
And moving forward, we're looking at LTPC 340 within middle school sketch plan, and this is a discussion item.
Evening, Steve Gerger, Harbor Engineering, we're back. Have Matt Shields from the School District of Lancaster, Connie King, Gary Graham, Ron Dane from Ron Architects. And we're kind of sets up, we'll have some additional displays. We just wanted to come back. I think this was discussed at the last sketch plan meeting, like the possibility of, as we continue to move forward through the land development process and further develop the plans, to keep the planning commission informed, kind of let you know what we're doing and tweaking based on the feedback that we've been receiving from your group, which has been really positive so far, to try to advance this project with your input, like as we continue through the process. So, and I think, have you all received this information? Okay, good. So, what we want to go over is just the layout generally is the same as far as the placement of the building, the access drives, the circulation, all that's still the same. But what we've been looking at is making some grading adjustments, making some adjustments to the stormwater approach to try to make this more of like a park setting and try to take advantage of that space in between the bus loop and the lower parking area, more of a usable space, not just the stormwater management and embankment area, which is, I think, with our original submission, we had it basically showing as such, but trying to really take advantage of that space and do some things with that. So starting with the building, what we did is we looked at raising the building about 4 feet in elevation from what we had before. So that'll have some stairs at the front entrance along Hamilton Park Drive. But what that does is that allows us to reduce that embankment that we had on the south side of the building. The original sketch we had, it was a pretty good embankment coming down through there. And it resulted in the loss of quite a few trees. It was taking that grading really right up to the sanitary sewer easement that's located there. So by getting this up higher, it's going to reduce the amount of export on the site, help to balance the earthwork a little bit better, but then also to reduce that embankment. We think it's going to fit in the site a little bit better. And it's also going to preserve a lot more of the trees than we'd originally had proposed. So we're continuing to work at that angle to try to minimize the disturbance, the earth disturbance around that area, because we understand it's a sensitive area. We also still have the landscape planting and trees shown on the west side of the building. I think those were there before, but the intention would be to, outside of the water easement that's there, plant as many trees as we can to replace trees that are being lost, and also to provide a buffer to the properties to the west on Atkins Street. And then we took a good hard look at the area in between, like what I was talking about, between the lower parking area and the bus loop, to see how we can make that a space that's usable for the school and the community, not just for stormwater, not just for getting people up and back, but how can we look at that and try to make it a little more artistic, make it a little more ecologically beneficial, look at the stormwater management. And in tandem with that, we've shrunk the sizes of the basins a little bit. Those are not finalized. We're still working on the design. But what we're also looking at doing in order to help with that situation is looking at some stormwater retention on the top of the roof of Wheatland. So Marauder Main's used that in a couple of other projects in more urban areas, but it might be a good way to help reduce some of that volume. It's not going to take care of everything. We're still going to have to meet infiltration requirements and everything, but this is a way we can try to reduce those areas and make that area a little bit more usable for other things. We also had some infiltration testing done since we last spoke around the building, and the infiltration rates are relatively good, so that's going to be encouraging for these facilities to do water, hopefully within a good period of time. So we've got the central staircase still shown coming through, and then we've got a longer ramp rather than the switchback ramps that were more efficient in a way, but we have ramps that work their way through the site that take people through the tree areas. We're envisioning more of like an arboretum type setting in this area. Larger trees that would mature, kind of taking the Wheatland historic site as an inspiration. We have some mowed trails in between those areas. Those are the dash lines. Oh, that's a good graphic. This has a little bit of color to it. To illustrate what we're looking at, but a paved path that would wind its way up through that would be ADA accessible. We're envisioning that to try to be less than 5%, so we wouldn't need the ramps and the railings, and then the central staircase, and then areas of trees, mowed paths, or the dash lines through the arboretum type area that could be used for just walking, for classroom space, for the general community. We're looking at a potential outdoor classroom amphitheater on the east side. Try to take advantage of that grade in that area, and then we're looking at maybe some other areas of like meadow on the west side of the site, another meandering path area, maybe some seating areas and things like that. So we're continuing to develop that, and we have some inspiration photos that we've been looking at as well, and this kind of illustrates some of those concepts: the mowed paths through meadow areas, the outdoor classroom areas, seating areas. The circle area at the bottom, like with the rocks for smaller group instruction or just hanging out spaces, tree identifications, native tree plantings and things like that. So that's kind of where we're headed with this project as far as trying to respond to some of the comments and feedback that we've gotten from this group, and as we want to develop this into like a good space, not just for the school, but the surrounding community. So the other thing that we had submitted.
Could we pause and talk about these things before we get into the traffic, which is
100%.
where I think you're going
Yep.
next. Sorry, Debbie, for
That's okay.
stepping in.
No, you may.
I had a thought when I saw some of the new layout, and maybe some of the planning commission members would want to ask questions. Should I go first? Or?
Sure.
Okay.
If you please.
In thinking about it, I wanted to just make sure that you look at the feasibility of making the changeover of the site, because your construction time window to go from demo of Wheatland Middle School to that is 3 months, right? So if y'all are already got that in your brains to think about the scheduling, fine. I just started to get the EBGBs, if you will, about it.
I'm if we use the word heebie-jeebies, but we've also been thinking about it quite a bit. Yeah, so
Well, that can go in the minutes, right? Heebie-jeebies? That's a good phrase. I mean, maybe some people don't know
How do you spell it?
it. Me? How do I spell it? Do you really want to know?
Just assume it was an engineer term.
Heebbies dash JEEBIES. Not semi-quincentennial either. So, anyway, great.
But
You're thinking
logistically, you're
about
right,
it.
yeah, absolutely.
Cool.
Because it's not gonna be like just over the summer, it's not gonna be like, bam, the school's gone and we have the parking, so that will
Yeah.
have to be addressed.
Cool.
Yeah, we're talking about doing as much of the abatement in the building that we can summer before and to try to expedite the demolition of the building. And then part of the stormwater, the blue roof system is to have some stormwater while that building is still, the existing building is still there, so that we have something.
I don't think we have any blue roof building in Lancaster Township. That'll be really interesting to see how that works out.
Yeah.
Can you tell us a little bit about how that system functions?
Yeah, well, you want to do Don, please, okay?
I mean, the concept is that we have to design the roofs for failure. So whenever the structural engineers have to design the roofs as if all the roof drains on the roof would be clogged and we would have ponding water on the roof. So it's using that volume of detention of structural management that has to be designed into the building to compensate for it, to detain the stormwater on the roof and slowly release it the similar way a detention basin would do. They're controlled, it's a system that's managed sort of like a digital control system for an HVAC system, something like that. The roofing system has a mat underneath it that's a detection system, so if there would ever be a leak, it would fail open. So that you're not ponding water and creating a major problem inside the building during a major rain event. It also, if it's freezing temperatures, it adjusts the drains also, so that you're not creating ice damming or other problems like that with the system. But basically what you're doing is you're using the volume that we have to design for structurally anyway to capture the stormwater. And we have it on, I think, going on 4 or 5 buildings currently. And we've reviewed the analysis. It's actually more cost effective. It's a more costly roof, but if you offset that against the excavation that you have to do either underground detention to achieve a similar effect here, like under a parking lot, to try to create the open space, or even the excavation associated with above ground detention, we think it's more economical approach as well. So,
Thanks.
I assume you're taking a rate reduction credit and then evapotranspiration, but not infiltration credit.
Correct. However, I think the way that these typically work, and I'm learning about this as we go too, is that the orifices would typically remain closed for like 24 hours, after a rain event, and then they would release that water. So what we might be able to do is sort of take double credit or double duty for these basins. So like the first flush would go to the surface basins, infiltrate, and then the basin area from the roof would then release into those, and then that would be infiltrated. So might be able to get more bang for the buck from the surface basins that way. But you're right, the roof itself, other than a slight amount of evaporation, they would just be rate control.
In the plantings, would there be
No.
plantings?
No, it's not a green roof, no.
Okay.
It's a blue roof. So.
Got it. So
Yep.
it's solely just volume.
Just volume, detention.
yeah, it's a membrane system. It's a membrane roof system, similar to what goes on a lot of buildings now, but one tailored to this application. So.
Gotcha.
And I would add, the school district's been investigating a lot of green initiatives, and so one of the things we've been investigating for this project as well has been solar. And so even with the blue roof, we can still pair that and still potentially add solar on this roof as well, even with the detention system on top of it.
Do you have anything else, Ben, you wanted to add?
I do not.
Any questions from the commissioners about this portion?
I'll start. I personally think it's it looks great on paper right now, and it's a great idea. The amphitheater, I think, is a good idea to take advantage of the slope with the seating area. Are you envisioning anything at the bottom of that, like something covered or something, like where that would be like the stage of the amphitheater, or is it more just seating that's?
It may be like a pad down there, like a concrete pad or something like that. I guess I was envisioning more for just outdoor classroom area, not necessarily like performance.
Yeah,
things, although
yeah,
we're
I mean,
fleshing that out.
we're doing another one, similar to the one with Blue here over at Burroughs eventually. A small one, but that doesn't have a cover either, so we haven't talked about it.
It's more just a gathering point than necessarily a place where people are going to go watch something.
Right.
Okay.
I'm seeing crosswalks for this bus route. There's one, about dead center on the south side. And then following that path, against traffic to the left, the next place you can really cross this safely is all the way up at the northwest corner. Is that right? Like there's what you described as mode paths in this area, the green area on the left side of the screen there. Mm-hmm. So if suppose people are entering the site from the Hamilton Park Drive corner, it's almost a natural. It seems to me that you're going to want to make your way into the center of that site potentially, but there's not a place to do that that's ideal, especially with bus traffic rounding that corner. Am I missing something there?
So crosswalks we have are here on the west side. We have the larger crosswalk here, like at the central access point for Wheatland, and then we have the other crosswalks where the access drive comes in and intersects Hamilton Park Drive.
For the drop-off loop.
For the drop-off loop. Are you talking about like in this area?
Right. If I'm heading.
Isn't there a crosswalk that's adjacent to that drop-off loop, or a sidewalk? I mean.
Yeah, so there's a sidewalk, there's no sidewalk here, but there's a sidewalk on the south side of the drop-off loop.
And then to the north there, is there another sidewalk?
Yeah, there's sidewalk along, the east side of the access drive that comes up to Wheatland.
Is that where you meant?
North side, there's sidewalk along the north side, or the south side, sorry, of the bus drop-off loop.
Right, if a pedestrian's trying to make their way to the major bulk of the green space in the middle there, to do that properly, they have to either follow straight across the bottom to enter from to the staircase area, or go all the way up to the north and cross that crosswalk.
That seems to me.
It seems to be like people will just cross there and in the curve of that bus drop-off loop.
Yeah, we have the mode path there, but maybe that's a better spot for like a paved path to facilitate that. And we can look at that.
I agree with that too, Justin. Just thinking about the existing pedestrian traffic flow, if you're walking down that side of Hamilton, you're walking along where that sidewalk is now going towards Atkins, and you kind of lose that ability right here. But that seems like an easy addition on your end.
Yeah, it's really just how we do some of the treatments for those paths. Maybe some more of them are paved rather than mowed.
Yeah, one of my favorite things about what you're showing us is that this looks like it could actually be a pretty inviting community asset. I'm just thinking about how pedestrian traffic would actually flow in and make use of it in a way that's safe and not conflicting with the flow of bus traffic.
If I know anything, humans are going to take the path of least resistance and just cut right through.
Exactly.
That gives me the heebie-jeebies.
Once again. Okay.
I think are you planning any type of educational signage? I think there could be some value in that around stormwater.
Yeah, I think
And
we
then
haven't talked about this,
even
but
the
yeah.
trees too.
Yeah, I think.
In fact, like in Manhattan Township, they require that you do that anytime you have a GMP, like you have like a sign. And that's probably a good idea, particularly in this case, where this would be like central to the park area. And it's pretty easy to do, just have like the BMP, this is a rain garden, how it functions, that sort of thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we have similar signage over at Martin Elementary School, where the city, through a grant, put a meadow on part of the location. So they, as part of the grant, they provided signage, but we would kind of mirror and model based off of that. And we could also extend that over towards the building, the blue roof, to kind of reference and educate people about the blue roof, and if we have solar, that as well.
Cool.
Okay, and before you continue, if I may read from one of the commissioners. This is from Angie. And while the plan for the existing school footprint is much improved with the more usable space, I remain concerned that developing the existing park/open space is not the best plan for the school district and the neighborhood. If this stays as the plan, the school district must be held to trash management of the meadows and any rain gardens. Also, they should plant large tree species, not just small ornamental trees. So that's addressing this first part.
Thanks.
The school district, could you go back to the, this one, yeah. Does the school district own lot 3, which is to the northeast?
Moving back to the,
It's right above 23.
Yes, they do.
Yes.
What's the purpose, what is that portion of the lot used for currently? Is it just grass?
It is a vacant parcel.
Okay. Is there any plan for that parcel in the future? Is there any way you could incorporate that into this newly revised green space plan that you guys shared with us?
we didn't consider that. Matt, any thoughts on what the intention for that property is in the future?
Currently, I'm not aware of any.
Okay.
I was not with the district when they purchased that lot.
So it's a separate parcel from the greater parcel?
Yes, correct.
It's personally, I think the revised plan here is a great idea. The meadow, I guess the stormwater infiltration basin to the west. Are you proposing some sort of bridge or something? Is there a?
Actually, yeah, we do have one shown currently in this area here. We're thinking potentially doing something like that. So you'd have a little portion of it that would
That's
cross over.
flowing under?
Yeah, exactly, yeah. It would be a very shallow basin, but yeah,
So you'd always be standing over the basin in that area?
correct, yeah.
That's a good idea.
Any additional questions? Okay. You want to continue?
Yeah, and just the other thing I was going to say is really no changes to the park or the traffic assessment other than we tried to submit a more condensed summary of the traffic counts that were taken, the results of those studies for both pedestrians and for vehicles, and then just a summary of the recommendations that are being made by the traffic engineer, which include maintaining the crossing guards at 5th and West End Drive, recommending that we add that additional lane going up towards Smith-Waydell to alleviate that issue. And then we're also, we were back and forth on, if you recall, we have the manual gate at Atkins and Hamilton Park Drive. And the initial plan was to have that closed in the PM, but allow that to be open in the morning times for traffic to come through. But upon further reflection, particularly, I think the main driver of that would be to facilitate safer pedestrian connections there, because that portion of Hamilton Park Drive as it goes to Atkins between those two residences is very narrow, so there's no sidewalks or anything like that, and really the possibility to do that is probably minimal to none. So keeping that gate closed in the AM also is going to be part of the plan when we submit the land development plan, so traffic wouldn't go through that area in the mornings and the afternoons. It could be open during the day and in the evenings when it's not during peak hours, but the idea is that for peak traffic, for drop-offs and pickups, the traffic would come from West End Drive to access the site for the Wheatland portion of it. And then again, a 999 access for Smith-Waydell.
Manual gate seems really difficult to achieve every day of
Yeah.
the school year, twice a day. I think,
Consistently.
I mean, even something simple like a simple arm gate might be able to achieve that a lot easier.
Yeah, we can have that conversation, yeah, absolutely.
Not saying it can't be done, but
Yeah,
it's a lot.
it's one more thing, yeah.
Well, the manual gate beside Smithway Dale was never used,
Yeah, correct. Yeah.
so. And in keeping that, is there a concern that families that may need to drive, especially during inclement weather, now have to go outside of the neighborhood? And like, that's gonna just, I guess, shift the traffic pattern, but
It's definitely the trade-off for sure. There's no ideal situation, but I think making it safe for pedestrians probably would be more important, I think, than the vehicle convenience in that spot.
and will the district plan to inform the employees as well? Because then that would be limited for employees to enter and exit in that area.
Yeah, during those hours, they would have to notify them, yeah.
The existing data, am I reading this correctly, is that it's only using data from one day?
Correct. Yeah, they did a weekday, peak hours, like morning and afternoon.
Was there additional data collected?
I don't think so.
Okay. Just curious how that, if there was, how it compares to the other days, if that is the absolute peak, or if, I don't know, how it compares to those. I'm curious. And it seems like it's a really small data point just to have one day.
One day, yeah. We'll talk to our traffic engineer about that. Yeah, this is like his preliminary assessment just to get our arms around like what's happening and try to compare that to the traffic study that was done when it was Buchanan at the time, Smithway Dale was done as a land development plan, so. Yep.
So this is saying that after the new school is built, it'll result in 66 new trips in the AM and then 33 new trips in the PM.
That's the estimate, yeah, for the ITE, for the, like the roughly 100 additional students that they're anticipating.
And so all of those new trips will be, how will they flow? What's the traffic pattern again?
So the Smithway Dale traffic would enter and exit, I don't think it's okay, would enter and exit from the access drive from 999, and go out that way. And then for the Wheatland folks, they would come in from 5th Street and then come through. They would have the option to, I think most of them would exit 5th Street, but they would also have the option to exit at the traffic light at 999.
Okay. And is that the 560 students, is that the full build out, or is that what you're anticipating right away?
That's more than maximum occupancy. If you take the enrollment at Wheatland now, plus the 100 students, it's under that. I don't have that in my head, but it might be closer to 500 students.
You think it says 560 students?
Is the maximum planned, if every classroom had 25 students in it.
In the new school?
Yeah.
Got it. So that there couldn't ever be more than 560 new students in that school?
In theory, yes.
In theory?
Well, it's not 560, is it?
I want to say it's 610 is the maximum capacity of
Yes.
the building.
610.
And 560 is what we're planning for with the
Yes.
100 new students.
Okay. I would think you would want your trip generation analysis should anticipate full
Max
build out of
capacity.
the school, with populations growing and needing more capacity in the school and whatnot. I mean, it's hard to anticipate what exactly it's gonna look like 5, 6, 7 years down the line.
Yeah, the district did just do an update to the enrollment study, which shows it declining, I think 1,200 students almost over the next 10 years, district-wide.
Gotcha.
So that is the trend, that it is declining
Gotcha.
overall.
Any other questions from the commissioners? Ben, if you had questions?
Yeah, to piggyback a little back on what John was asking about trip generation and number of students, I would think that this traffic study that is being prepared would also be looking at Smith-Waddell School and the population of the students with whatever criteria you're going, a 10-year build out or maximum capacity, whatever that is, these two facilities are interlocked. So let's make sure that we look at both of those over time. Also, in the summary, there's a phrase that kind of caught me up short. The third bullet item starts currently afternoon parent pickup, and it ends with saying the proposed improvements will help alleviate this situation. I don't think help alleviate is a high enough bar, frankly. So I think we need to alleviate whatever problems we anticipate happening, not help alleviate. So just to let you know, there are problems out there today at Smith-Waddell that didn't work out the way that it was planned when that land development plan went through. And I will be wanting to make sure that we don't create new problems or fail to alleviate problems. We're also going to need to work carefully with our Public Works Department on the 5th Street entrance, the crossing. I had suggested in my review letter that we have a meeting with Devin Groff, and hopefully that can happen in the near future. And as y'all are getting to be very much in tune with what might happen with people who use Hamilton Park Drive as an ad hoc or just for today or whatever drop-off, we'll need to figure out how to make that operate properly. Aside from training drivers, aside from signage, I don't know what that looks like, but we're going to need to take a close look at that.
Devin's back.
He is in and out.
Not 100%.
We'll
Yeah,
coordinate
not
with you.
in-
Last time we spoke, yeah, he was away, so we
Correct.
we would like to have
Yeah.
a meeting for sure. Yeah.
So
You still anticipate keeping the speed humps?
Yeah.
What are the existing problems with Smith-Waddell, Ben? Or Steve, feel free to answer.
It's the queuing and the stacking going out almost to the intersection, sometimes to the intersection of 999 with the drop off. So right now there's one pickup spot, which is here on the west side of the building. And then that backs up, and then, my understanding parents also tend to park like in the gravel lot. They're all down the way.
The
Clogs
gravel lot
one
in the
lane.
park?
Yeah, the township's park lot, and then it clogs like the one lane. So our, just to recap what our proposed solution is to, it's just off the page here, but starting at the water tower, we're gonna add an additional lane coming up to the north, and then split the dismissals. The drop off in the morning is not the issue, it's the pickup in the afternoon and the queuing. is to split the grade. So perhaps maybe K through 2 comes out the west side of the building, 3rd through 5th comes out the south side of the building. You basically like double the stacking area because you have like one lane designated for, say, the upper grades, the 3rd through 5th that would come through here, and then the lesser grades, the K through 2 would come up through this area. So trying to take advantage of the space we have, but also creating an additional drop-off area. So right now, on the south side of Smith Waddell, there's parking in this area. We would propose to eliminate that, make that a broader, wider concrete area for pickup, and then add additional parking, which would offset those spaces plus more on the south side of that lot. That would require a small retaining wall adjacent to the basin, but basically transfer that parking over and then make this loop a one-way loop for pickups.
Got it.
Parking in that parking lot has been problematic from my observations, where more vehicles are parking there than there are spaces striped for them. So the aisle widths have been reduced, and it's all fine if it's a normal, easygoing day and everybody's careful. It's not so fine if there's an emergency.
Right.
So,
And the fact that this will be used now day to day as a pickup area is also going to
changes the function,
Sure.
yeah.
Yep.
Now that I'm just looking, excuse me, Justin, can we use the existing basin any more than it's used today?
For stormwater management?
Yeah,
Yeah, I think we will as part of the access drive expansion. That would be the intention.
but bringing it over from that way?
From even the new school, you mean the new? Yeah, potentially, sure.
Yeah,
Yeah, it has been functioning well once it got established. It dewaters adequately, so. Yeah, sure.
From the time that the land development plan was approved for Smith Waddell, was there a faulty assumption? Like, what went wrong that the traffic is not performing the way it was designed to originally?
Matt can speak to it, but I think a lot of it was that happened through COVID, and I think there's a lot more parent drop-off and pickup in the last 5 years. So
big shift in behavior of parents.
This is at all schools, like not just here, but like I've noticed it, we noticed it, like a lot of schools, they just don't support like the pickup and drop-offs that they were designed to do, and it's almost impossible to predict.
Yeah, I can speak to that because I was at the previous district 4 years ago. Coming out of COVID, we saw a huge increase statewide in parents dropping off children. We thought it would shift back. It really has not shifted back, and so it's just a preference from the parents, and it's hard to anticipate. We will see drastic changes even depending on weather, where we may see 30 additional parents pick up on days that normally don't pick up. We'll watch parents who live in isolated schools on inclement weather days come and pick up their children that are normally not in our pickup lines instead of walking like they normally do. So it's very difficult to anticipate the amount of parents to have in queuing.
So the design that you're showing us here for stacking and queuing and all that is assuming that trend becomes the norm and stays that way.
And Wheatland, this will have a really, really long stacking queue area. So this is designed, that's another reason why we separated it from the buses. So the stacking lane can really travel all the way back, like quite a ways. Like it's significant. We hope it doesn't need to be used that way, but there's quite a bit of stacking before it would ever affect like a public road.
How extraordinary would the circumstances be that we back traffic all the way back out to West End Avenue?
That would, I don't want to say impossible, but like it is a very, very, very long route to get back through there. I had it before, but I don't remember the distance, but it's pretty significant.
Did you say a moment ago that entrance will be from different points for Wheatland versus Smith Waddell?
Yeah, the idea is that Wheatland would come in from 5th Street and West End to access the site.
And Smith Waddell.
Smith Waddell would use 999.
And is the site navigable for a parent that's going to both? Like, is there something that would prevent a parent that's dropping off at Smith Waddell from entering from 999 and still getting to the place where they want to drop their kid off? Or is it just kind of a
Well,
suggestion? about
They could
financial
almost go,
framework?
like if they came in to drop off at Smith Waydell and then wanted to drop off at Wheatland, they could come in and maneuver around the site this way and then get up to Wheatland. So they could go in that direction to do it.
Time-wise, the middle school starts first. So any parent that would need to drop off at the middle school could come through that queue. And then, later, it's almost an hour later that the elementary school kids are
Got
coming
it,
in.
okay.
The closer
You told me
time
that.
period is at the end of the day.
Mhm.
That's about 45 minutes, well, not even, about 35 minutes between 2:45 and 3:15 when the students are dismissed from the two buildings, which I think that's what makes it a little more difficult at pickup time. at the end
Parents
of the
showing
day.
up early.
Yes. Yeah,
That's-
having worked in both buildings, yes. There are a number of families that do come in and park and wait, starting as early as 1:30, 1:45 to pick up their students that are being dismissed at 3:15. And I'm not sure why you would want to sit in your car that long, but that's what happens. They want their kids to come out first so they get first in line and not have to stay longer in that queue.
You don't anticipate any queuing out onto West End, do you?
No. No, we really
Because
don't.
that would be,
It's
that would be a real nightmare.
that would be a total failure. So I mean, we have, like again, I don't recall how long it is, but it's a really long stacking area. That would prevent that.
Okay. I recall seeing in the original land development plan for this, at the end of Fifth Street, there was an easement area
Yep.
that allowed for traffic basically to turn around and not have to use
Yep.
Wheatland Ave. Is that still going to exist?
It is. I don't know if you can see it, or maybe if you can zoom in locally, but it's still here. We would just reconfigure that slightly based on the new parking configuration, and we would record that as part of the plan. But yeah, this hatched area here would be that loop. And that's really the same configuration that it was before, just modified a little bit differently.
Okay. And they're still planning to do what we talked about, I think, last time, the alley along between the field and Atkins to like almost create a pedestrian walkway there.
Yeah, so we were gonna have at that gate opening, have a staircase that goes up and use the track, and then the track would be kept clear during inclement weather. I think that was brought up, and that would just be part of the maintenance program. But at this point, until something else happens with the track itself, that portion of the track could be used as a walkway into the school.
And
rather
then you
than
would
using
go
the
up
alley.
the stairs at the bottom.
Correct, yep.
Are there plans to improve those stairs because they've seen better days?
We can evaluate that,
Okay.
yeah, it's a good point.
They are dangerous.
Okay.
They what?
They are dangerous.
Yes, I would agree with that.
Our students use them for
At
the Tiger Run. So when they do
bottom of
their
the track on
activity,
that plan.
Okay.
it's a fundraising activity. We have to slow the students down because
To
the
the left.
first step is about 20 inches.
Okay.
Because there's a drain right there that's kind of, the ground is broken up around.
Right.
Yeah, lots of sediment.
Generally, though, I appreciate the non-traffic engineer jargon on this summary. Most of us, including myself, have trouble with the lengthy traffic reports,
Agreed, yeah.
so appreciate that. And I do appreciate you kind of hearing us, hearing our thoughts on this through this concept plan and being receptive to that and making the adjustments that you did. So.
Thank you.
Any additional questions?
Path forward from here, now that I think we're pretty close to the end of this sketch plan phase, would be, I assume you're gonna combine preliminary final.
Yeah, we'll come in with a land development plan and request a waiver of preliminary plan. Yep. So probably the next time you see us, we'll be back with the preliminary, or the land development plan.
Rough timeline on when you think that'll be submitted.
A couple of months, hopefully within 2 months, maybe before, yeah.
And in that time plan, your time frame, you'll take into consideration looking at the traffic study between both buildings,
Mhm.
both pedestrian and vehicle.
Yeah, we'll take all these comments into
Okay.
consideration, yeah.
Thank you.
And we'll get together with you and Devin as well and talk about Fifth Street, et cetera.
Thank you for your patience with that.
Yeah.
been a really good exercise to have this amount of dialogue from both the planning commission and from the applicant. So thank you to the school district and all the team for that. So
Yeah, no, I will say that sketch plan phase is completely optional, so it does go a long way to have this dialogue. You're absolutely not required to submit a sketch plan and to come here 3 or 4 times to talk about it, so much appreciated.
Thank you so much.
Thanks. Good night.
Thank you.
So seeing no new business and no old business to discuss, any announcements? Okay. Seeing none, I'd like, or I will accept the motion to adjourn our meeting.
So moved.
Second.
Second.
Vote.